What's up, everybody? This is Around the Boards, episode 42 here, and just wanted to start this episode off right. Good vibes here. Happy 4th of July to all of our American listeners, and if you're not American, happy Canada Day, because that just passed on July 1st. And
Also, July 1st is another holiday that at least one person celebrates in the Long Island.
oh boy.
It's Rick DiPietro Day.
Ooh.
Happy Rick DiPietro Day,
Whoop,
John.
whoop.
Every July 1st until 2028, Rick DiPietro makes $1.5 million from the New York Islanders. And it's just been a rough week for Islanders. They give Rick DiPietro 1.5, and also John Taveres walks away. The biggest news over the last free agency period so far.
Yes, and we have a little audio here for John Taveres from his press conference from Toronto. So let's listen in.
It was tough. You're in one place for so long. You get so embedded. Your roots are so deep in there, and you care so much about the people and the people that have cared about you. It really took the right opportunity and the right fit. I thought the timing was just couldn't be beat, and certainly being from here, and I think with the with where this team's at and how good and young their core players are, and obviously seeing in recent weeks how the Marlies did and what the future holds with much more talent in the job that they've done here, it was just hard to turn down.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Around the board.
Sweet doggy.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the breaking news already. John Taveres, now in Toronto, 7 years, $77 million.
That's insane.
I mean,
It's only an AAV of 11 mil, but still, that's
what 77 divided by 7 is. Good math.
Yeah, and not only that, he'll be paid over $70 million just in bonuses throughout his contract. That's nuts.
Well, he's in Toronto. He's back home.
So Toronto scores big. Obviously, they got the biggest free agent on the market.
Yep.
Where do you see Toronto going? Like,
I mean,
do you think they're going to be a cup contender? Like, do you think they're going to make it deep?
You
think so?
The odds have him as the Stanley Cup favorite right now.
Why? Because they picked up John Tavares?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. It takes a lot.
Look at the two teams that made the Stanley Cup Finals last year. Washington, they lost their head coach, and they didn't gain anybody. Okay, you got to get better if you want to stay on top. Look at the Golden Knights from the West. They gained Paul Stastny and lost James Neal and David Perron, and I don't know. They haven't really gotten better either. So, I mean, there's still a long ways to go. But right now, especially in the East, I mean, it's either going to be Toronto or Tampa Bay at this point, you think.
Yeah, right. You would think.
I mean, we all thought Tampa Bay was winning the Stanley Cup last year, too. So
yes, we did.
I don't know. I just don't know. Toronto definitely improved their team. And do you think if their young guys continue on that upward trend, like the sky's the limit for this team now?
Yeah, I mean, they said Tavares is expected to play center between Marner and God damn it, his name is escaping me right now. But yeah, so
okay, all right, cool.
The top line minutes, let's just say, for John Tavares, obviously, but
right.
There's still more though. Like there's still.
You know
more.
who I think it's gonna help the most? Fucking Austin Matthews.
Well, yeah, obviously
he's gonna break out your
right
playing second line minutes and not have to go against the other team's best top defensive pairing. Like, yeah. I don't know. I think he's gonna have a breakout year next year. It's gonna be a John Tavares effect, where John Tavares makes everybody around him better, and also,
right.
Austin Matthews is gonna be playing against the second line pairings of most teams now, so he's gonna get lots more opportunities.
Right. I'm sorry. It was Mitch Marner and Zach Hyman That's who Babcock is expecting Taveres to play
Okay.
between. But
I mean, all right,
and
whatever.
then Toronto's other scoring line is going to be Matthews, Marlowe, and Nylander.
That's a pretty fucking good
That's a
second
pretty
line, if you
solid
ask
two
me.
lines, right?
I mean,
Ugh.
Toronto was good last year.
Yeah.
And like I said, most of their players are young. They have a core that's building, and they just had a big piece of that core in John Tavares for the future. 7 years, 77 million. I mean, that seems to be the going price for superstar players right now is 11 mil a year. So
It's huge.
we'll see.
It's huge.
But others, obviously, other teams wanted Tavares. The top three were Toronto, the Islanders, of course, because they could offer him the 8 years,
Yep.
and San Jose. I mean, even the Islanders offered him more than 11 million a year, with the 8 years, 90 million that was supposedly on the table from them.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess just John Tavares liked the core and the outlook with Toronto, or maybe it was just the fact that he was going back home better than staying in Long Island. And even the 7 years, 91 reportedly from San Jose, that's a shit ton of, that's 13 mil a year that he turned down
Yeah.
to play from San Jose.
I saw things on Twitter and these fans saying that John Tavares was following the money. Obviously
make any
not.
sense.
Obviously not.
You think he turned down more money from Islanders
Right.
and the extra
And-
year
and-
guaranteed.
And San Jose. San
And
Jose
even
offered
offered
him more.
him more money.
Yes.
It's like,
So
oh.
all the fans saying that he's following money, just shut up. Just shut up right now, please.
He's
just
not
shut
following
up.
the money. He's following his
No.
fucking heart
No.
and his gut.
Exactly. And I was sorry, just to go backtrack now after I had to get that thought out. I was thinking about Toronto and thinking about their goaltending situation too. And who's their goal? Is it Frederick Anderson?
Anderson.
Yeah. Right?
He's not bad.
No, he's not bad. But can he lead a team? You know, can he be that guy to bring them all the way?
I mean,
You know, that's the
why
question. I mean, he had 38 wins last year for Toronto. It's not bad,
Why
right?
not? As we saw last year in the playoffs, all you need to do is get a fucking hot goalie for a couple weeks, and you're fucking riding him. Get a hot goalie and some goal scoring. That's all you need.
Yeah. In last year's stats for him, I have them pulled up right here from the 2017-2018 season, okay? He was 38 and 21 and 5. So he's 38 wins, 21 losses, and 5 overtime losses. His goals against average was a 2.81.
Pretty good.
Yep, that's not bad. His save percentage was a .918,
Pretty good.
and he had 5 shutouts.
Pretty good.
You know, he's your
He's not a superstar goalie.
no,
He
no.
could be.
Right, and he's
I mean,
he's still pretty young for the most part. He is only 28 years old. You know,
okay,
he's still pretty
just
young,
now entering his prime.
right?
I
So,
mean, look
yeah,
at
you know-
fucking Winnipeg. Connor Hellebuck. Nobody saw him having the year he had last year.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't Frederick Anderson do that for the Toronto Maple Leafs now?
True. True.
If you're a Maple Leafs fan, you got to be excited and you got to be thinking that you're Stanley Cup definite contenders, that you're making the playoffs
Right.
this year, the next 3 years at least.
Right.
So they're definitely a team to be reckoned with.
Right. So, like we mentioned, John Tavares was offered 7 years, 91 million from San Jose.
Yeah.
And,
So apparently they made some moves to open up that spot for him, and since he didn't go there, they had a bunch of money left over. So they said, "Why not spend it?" Welcome
And they
back,
did.
Joe Thornton. 1 year, $5 million.
welcome back, Logan Couture.
Yeah,
8
please
years,
stay for a while.
64
Don't leave us
million.
hanging like John Tavares did to the Islanders.
Right.
8 years, 64 million. God,
And-
can you believe fucking Logan Couture is making $8 million a year now?
He's young too. He's what? He's gotta be 26.
He's not that good.
I know he's not that good, but he's still young, and he's still making
Yeah.
that money. But
And then Thomas Hurdle, 4 more years, 22.5 million.
yeah,
So the money that they offered John Tavares was 13 million a year. They combined 18.625 a year to spend on those 3 guys for next year at least, and then a couple more years after that. We'll see what Joe Thornton. Maybe this is his last ride, or it seems like Joe Thornton just keeps signing 1-year deals with San Jose. He's like, yeah, just bring me back. Yeah, just bring
Oh,
me
don't
back.
worry. We're gonna get into that because there's certain guys who signed 1 year's deals, which we're gonna mention in a little bit later in the show. That I just think needs to retire. So getting back to it now. So San Jose obviously spent money elsewhere instead of John Taveres, because they couldn't get him.
Islanders had to do the same thing.
Right. So the Islanders had to do the same thing. They signed Leo Komarov. Ends up signing with the Islanders for 4 years, 12 million, and an AAV of 3 million.
Yeah, take that, Toronto.
And they also signed Valtteri Filppula, who signs with the New York Islanders for 1 year, 2.75 mil.
So they spent about $5 million this year on two
So
guys
far.
instead of
It's
over
still
12 million.
right. The free
Actually, when you said so far, because I think Mitch Marner's a restricted free agent. I read somewhere that Lou Lamoriello in New York should sign like Mitch Marner to like an offer sheet of like a ridiculous amount just to say fuck you, Toronto, for taking John Tavares. We're gonna take Mitch Marner now.
Why not?
I mean, just say fuck it.
Why not?
We know Mitch Marner's not as good as John Tavares, but we need somebody back here.
And but I wouldn't like that because Mitch Marner, I think, should go to the Rangers.
Oh my god. Do you think fucking everybody should go to the Rangers?
Obviously, why not?
Anyways,
Why
let's
not?
talk about
No.
real hockey teams like LA Kings, baby.
Oh my God! Here
We already talked about them
go.
signing Ilya Kovalchuk to 3 years.
Here
I'm
we
pretty
go.
sure I said this last week on this. I said, hey, sign Kovalchuk to whatever you want as long as you re-sign Drew Doughty. Guess what happened?
What happened?
Drew Doughty re-signed 8 years, 88 mil, baby.
Oh,
That's
man.
a lifelong king. Oh, it feels so good. I don't care what the Kings do I don't care. Drew Doughty is going to hopefully finish his career, at least the majority of it, in LA, and I couldn't be happier. He is going to get his number retired. He's going to hold majority of the records for defensemen. And God, I love that guy.
And so, speaking of the Kings, too, there's a Kings fan who somehow managed to find us on
Via the YouTube.
YouTube. And just a quick shout out for commenting on our video. Plucky, I'm gonna screw this one up so hard. Is it
Marauder?
Thank you.
There you go. English
Plucky,
is not your strong suit.
keep listening, Plucky. We appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks
And
for
if
the
you wanna
comment.
come on here.
Yeah, if you want to come on and talk Kings hockey, Rob will not turn you down.
Yeah, we'll bring Jesse from All the Kings Men podcast on here too again. I'm
There
sure
you
he'll
go.
come back on and talk with us. Have a Kings heavy episode.
Cool. So speaking
Talk about Drew Doughty and Ilya Kovalchuk some more. Hell yeah.
So speaking of Kings and
the Pacific Division.
the Pacific Division over there. Next up, we're going to talk about the losers in the Stanley Cup Finals, the Vegas Golden Knights.
I mean, they're trying to get better.
I just want to start with Nick Holden.
No.
Yes,
No.
I'm starting with Nick Holden just to get it out of the way. So
You're
Nick Holden ends
fucking
up
up the rotation.
Nick Holden signs.
You're fucking up the rotation.
Nick Holden signs a
You're
2-year
fucking up the
contract
rotation.
with the Vegas Golden Knights for 4.4 mil. Okay, that is 4.4 million too many for the the Vegas Golden Knights to sign Nick Holden. He's got to be he's got to be the seventh man, right? He's not going to be a starter. No, there's just
He will be a starter.
no.
Derek England's not going to be as good as he was last year.
You don't think so?
No. No way. Lucas Spees is out. He's gone.
Okay, yeah. God.
I mean, Shea Theodore's there.
God bless you, VGK
John Merrill
fans.
probably won't be back, or I don't know what they're going to do with him.
Let me tell you, from having him on the Rangers, you guys can have him for the next 2 years, please, because I do not want to see him back on the Rangers roster. And there was talks about that shit. I think I brought that up last episode. But anyways, back up here. Paul Stastny. Paul Stastny signs with VGK for 3 years, 19.5 mil, 6.5 mil a year. What's your take on that one? How do you think he's going to fit in over there?
I don't know who their first line center is going to be. Is it Paul Stastny? Is it William Karlsson? I mean, I just don't know. Like, neither one of them really jump out to me as a first line center anymore. You used to think that way about Paul Stastny.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, this guy's definitely first line center. But then he went to St. Louis and kind of regressed. In my opinion, got traded to Winnipeg, kind of fit in all right with them, but wasn't first line center capable. So, I mean, it's a good signing for the Golden Knights because they want to get. He's a name player. It's a good free agent signing.
Yep.
He's a good guy. I mean, he's got skills,
Mm-hmm.
but like, I think it kind of fits in with their system as they don't want to be like a top heavy team where like they don't want their first line to be so much more dominant than their
Right.
third or fourth line. Like obviously they want it to be better,
Obviously.
but like they kind of want it all like a
Yeah, they want it to be even.
flowing concept. Yeah,
Yeah.
like first line and second line to be even so they could interchange them. at
Right,
some
and
point.
that's the way Vegas was last year. They had all 4 lines rolling. And when I mean rolling, I mean they were scoring goals.
yeah.
So yeah,
Well, one of those
I
guys scoring goals.
totally see what
the
you're
real
saying.
deal. James Neal, adios Vegas, one and done. Signed with Calgary, 5 years, $28.75 million. I think the Vegas fans are really hurt by that
Totally.
because I think Vegas fans and their train of thought here was, we could lose David Perron, we could lose James Neal, as long as we get John Taveres or somebody like that. And they got Paul Stastny instead, and I don't know.
Well,
You would think
didn't
you
you
think James Neal would go to like a Stanley Cup contender too, like Calgary? What the fuck? Okay,
for 5 years
whatever.
nonetheless.
Yeah, for
But-
long term. I mean,
But I read that it was something that James Neal has connections with the Calgary's head coach. So I think he's good friends with Calgary's head coach from like minor league stuff and before he
Yeah,
was
so?
professional and stuff. So I suppose I probably persuade him a little bit more. But anyways, so speaking of James Neal here, I believe you said like many episodes ago,
many moons,
many
back
moons
in the
ago,
archives.
that you were saying, oh, if James Neal sticks around, he'll be probably Vegas's first captain.
Yeah.
Who do we think Vegas is gonna make their captain now? William
I still don't think
Karlsson,
they're gonna have a captain next year.
Marc-Andre Fleury.
He can't be captain. I mean, he's a theoretical captain, but he could spray paint a C on his helmet, but he can't wear a C on his jersey. So, I mean, next year, Vegas Golden Knights, I don't think are going to have a captain again.
And I think
Unless, if you want to talk about this right now, just get it out of the way. Well, we'll talk about it for a second here, and then we'll talk about it at the end.
go ahead.
Unless they make that big blockbuster trade that's bound to happen this summer. Erik Karlsson coming to the Golden Knights. If that happens, they can make Erik Karlsson the captain, I think. But I don't know.
You think so?
If, right now, as it stands, Paul Stastny is not going to be the captain.
No.
Derek England's not going to be the captain. William Karlsson's not going to be the captain. So
That's still up in the air.
I mean, Marchessault maybe,
Maybe.
Riley Smith maybe, but
There you go.
no captain next year.
Okay. So we can move on to the next team here. We have the Tampa Bay Lightning. Speaking of captains, former Rangers captain Ryan McDonough re-signs with the Tampa Bay Lightning for 7 years, $47.25 million. Woo! That's a big contract for McDonough. But obviously he likes it in Tampa, loves playing there, and signs a big 7-year deal.
Yeah, he says, "Fuck you, Rangers. I don't want to go back to you."
Obviously not.
So I got a good thing here living on the beach.
I think everybody wanted out after, AV, wouldn't let him play and whatnot. But, AV had a lot of issues with letting their certain players play. But I'm not going to get into that because this isn't an episode for that. So,
I just don't understand how Tampa has so much like salary.
how
cap
much
for all
cap
these
space
players.
they got?
Like how
They
like,
got to be close.
fuck.
They got it.
Eiserman's
They got
gotta
to
be a genius for how he fits all these players in there.
Seriously. A lot of big names, man. And I
I
think
mean, we'll see. We'll see if they have like a little bit of what happened to the Blackhawks, where they have to start trading some of the young breakout players because they know they can't sign them.
yeah.
So I mean, maybe they'll catch up to them in the next year or two. But like this year, like fuck, how do they still have all these great players on the team?
It's ridiculous.
I mean, speaking of former great players that they had to trade, going back to your Rangers.
Vladislav Nemestikov re-signs with the New York Rangers for 2 years, $8 million. I'm a total fan for this one.
Only
Nemestikov.
2 years though.
Yeah. I mean, 2 years is. I think 2 years is playing it safe to a point where, I don't think the Rangers are going to be a playoff team next year because they're still
Right.
rebuilding. Okay, that's
Of
my
course.
that's my personal opinion. So they're going to give him 2 years to see in that second year, not next season, the
If
season
he's part of the
after.
rebuild process, or
Right.
if they could trade him for assets or something.
Right. Or if the Rangers are finished with the rebuild process by what would that be, the 2021 season?
Oh, an upgrade over him.
Right, exactly. Or
Okay.
right. Or say, okay, listen, the rebuild's done. Nemestikov's ending. Let's resign him big now because he fits in with the system and David Quinn.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So it gives them options. Yeah, it gives
Exactly.
them
It
options
gives
later
the
down
Rangers
road.
options. So
And this is kind
I'm
of like
okay
a
with
bridge
that.
deal because was he a restricted free agent?
I believe.
I
I believe
think
it.
he
I
might
believe. I believe it was a bridge deal. Yes.
Yeah, so it's
I'm not a
bridge
fan
deal
of bridge
to-
deal contracts, but I'm okay with
In this
Nemestikov.
case,
Right,
yeah.
like they screwed up everything with all their defensemen, the old defensemen, and everything like that. Anyways, like I said, not the episode for that to talk about. So, yes, I'm a huge fan for that one. Loved watching him play when he came over from Tampa at the end of the trade deadline. He did showed a lot of strengths, and even that was even playing under AV. And now that AV's gone, you got David Quinn, who is supposedly one of his great talents as a coach is mentoring these young kids and
Player
making them
development.
blossom.
Yeah.
And so I'm
Well,
totally
he's
looking forward
definitely
to
got
that.
the talent there.
Yeah, totally looking forward to that. So
A lot of young guys going to make the Rangers opening day roster next year.
yes.
I mean, how are the fans reacting though? Do they want the big names instead, or is everyone kind of bought into the rebuild process
I
right now?
think I'm just seeing people's reactions on Twitter and Facebook under the Rangers, stuff. It looks like everyone has been bought in for the rebuild.
So they're all pretty positive. They're saying,
Right.
yeah, let's build for the future.
Right. Exactly.
Sorry, Lundqvist.
Because it's been a long time since the Rangers have done that, as far as I know. Like, as far as I've been watching hockey, I think.
Yeah, they've had a really good run.
Right. And I think it was 12 or 13 years they made the playoffs, straight until this past
Yeah,
season. But
I mean, that's the way I feel about the Kings too. Like you re-signed Drew Doughty to the 8-year contract, and it's like ever since Drew Doughty came into the league and got drafted by the Kings, Kings really haven't been a bad team. They haven't really had to rebuild. They rebuilt and it was finished when they drafted Drew Doughty.
right.
That was the capture of the rebuild. So I
Right.
mean, maybe the Rangers.
It's like the last big rebuild they had was when they won the fucking cup back in 93, 94. Like that was like the last big rebuild they had.
Yeah,
Bringing
and-
in Messier, Adam Graves, all those greats. There hasn't been many greats since then playing for the Rangers. Most recent one, obviously,
Ryan
still.
McDonough's pretty good.
Well, yeah, exactly. Ryan McDonough was good, but it didn't get the Rangers anywhere. So I'm looking forward.
Henrik Lundqvist is pretty good.
That's the only one. Henrik Lundqvist. I mean, what, like Eric Lindros? No. Or I can just go on and on about all these no names that have showed up here. And,
Marin
Gabrick.
Gabrick.
Yeah. Gabrick, he was like Rick Nash, going on, does whatever one season, scores 40 plus goals, and then never shows up again. That's
So you think it's just time for the rebuild in New York?
Yes.
Just,
Yes.
Like stop trying with all these guys.
big
Just
names. Stop trying with a big name. Stop trying to
build
do it
from the
for
inside.
right. Stop trying to plan it for the now. Plan it for the future.
Yeah.
So
Build
I'm excited.
it around Brady Shea. Build
Yes.
it around Elias Anderson.
Yes. Philip Hedl. Oh my God, the kid's a stud.
Build it around Nemestikov.
Yes. Exactly.
And moving on, talking about teams building for the now. St. Louis, baby.
They're in.
They fucking, I don't know. Do you think it's too much? They traded for Ryan O'Reilly from Buffalo, but
Do-
they gave up a first round in 2019, a second round in 2021, Tage Thompson, Patrick Berglund, and Vladimir Sobotka just for Ryan O'Reilly. I mean,
Do
think Ryan
I?
O'Reilly
Do
definitely
I?
need to get out of Buffalo.
Do I think it's too much? Yes.
Yeah, for Ryan O'Reilly.
Yes. A first
mean-
round and a second. I mean, granted, the second round's not for another 3 years, but I think it's a little much. I think.
Well,
I think
it's
I
like
think it's a little
Buffalo.
much.
I don't think they're going to keep Ryan O'Reilly. Ryan O'Reilly definitely needed to get out of there. He kind of wanted to be out of there. He's given up on them, even with
Yeah.
Rossman Dahlin coming in as the first overall pick this year. I mean, I think Ryan O'Reilly fits in really well with the Blues and their style of play. They're kind of like a Kings team where they got big, strong players that play physical and skate.
Right. And
So,
I mean Riley's gonna have better teammates. No offense, Buffalo, but he's gonna have better teammates
got
alongside of him.
Tarasenko. He
Yeah,
might be on Tarasenko's line.
right?
Hello.
Because I mean, last year Riley for Buffalo had 24 goals, 37 assists, so he had 61 points. He was a minus 23. Poor guy. But he had
guy.
so he put up 61 points for the Sabres, and so. But I still think a first round and a third round was way too much.
And they got Tyler Bozak, 3 years, $15 million. I mean, another piece to the puzzle there in St. Louis.
St. Louis going all in, like you said. They're building for the now.
I mean, maybe not all in, but yeah, not all in. But like we said earlier too, David Perron left the Golden Knights and came back home to St. Louis. Seems like every time David Perron gets a chance, he goes to St. Louis. So this time in the 4-year, $60 million range. So
That is
about
true.
$4 million a year for David Perron and $5 million a year for Tyler Bozak. Add Ryan O'Reilly. I mean, they're gonna be solid. I don't know if they're playoff contenders.
Yeah.
I mean, contenders in the playoffs, but they'll probably make the playoffs.
How far they would get though, it's a whole nother story. But
Yeah,
I could
mean,
see St.
gives-
Louis making it. in
gives
the
them an
playoffs.
opportunity at the trade deadline to try to build if they want, or
Right.
see which way they want to go. And they got a nice, good, solid core in place. Not the youngest of cores, but still, like they have a identity at the very least.
Absolutely.
So St. Louis making some positive moves.
I agree. Also making positive moves, but not really, is the Chicago Blackhawks.
Oh, here you go. This is what you've been waiting
Chris
for.
Kunitz signs a 1 year, $1 million. Okay, this dude, like I just said earlier in
Go
the
ahead, rant it
episode,
off.
okay, he just needs to retire. There's certain people that just need to retire. Chris Kunitz, when you're jumping from team to team, buddy, 1 year deals, dude, just stop. Like, he's already won a couple cups with the Penguins, right? One at least. So it's like, dude, just stop already. Just
Hey,
stop.
if people are offering him 1 year, that means teams want him.
Yeah, I just hate seeing.
And if he's jumping around, that means a lot
I
of
just
teams
don't like
want him.
seeing his face. He's just not pleasant to look at.
What's wrong with Chris Kunitz?
I don't know. Just
He's a veteran.
yeah, 1
Going
year,
to Chicago. I don't know.
1 year, 1 million, dude. Just stop.
I mean, maybe he gets moved to the trade deadline to a contending team.
There you go. Right. There you
So
go.
maybe it's a good move for Chicago. Gain some future assets at the trade deadline. We'll see. We'll see how that one turns out.
Yeah.
And sticking in the wish Dunk was here for this part.
Chicago Blackhawks rivals, the Detroit
Yeah.
Red Wings.
Original 6 rivals. Wasn't there talks about Mike Green getting moved to the trade deadline last year?
There was. He was big talk back then, and how about
Now
that?
he re-signed with them 2 years, over $5 million a year, 10.75 over those 2 years.
Yep.
I mean, I guess
Yeah. I guess.
I don't know what else to say. Also, Thomas Vanek, another 1-year contract, $3 million. Okay,
Okay.
does he get moved to the trade deadline?
Maybe.
Are they just trying to find people that mesh in with their young players?
Right, but is Detroit
Dunk, where you at?
is Detroit going to be a playoff team? Like, are they going to be? Are they going to make the playoffs this upcoming year? Like,
Who knows? I don't know. Trade bait. Everything's trade bait.
I think Detroit's just a little cluster mess right now. They're just guys everywhere, and that's I don't know.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
wish Dunk was here to talk about that one, but
yeah. Well, they also signed Jonathan Bernier. I like him. Former Kings prospect.
yep.
Came up with Jonathan Quick. Obviously, Kings kept Quick because they knew better. Jonathan Bernier has been bouncing around from team to team. He was in Toronto, Colorado, Anaheim.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's in Detroit now 3 years, $9 million. I mean, cool.
He's going to be backing up,
think-
right?
I think Jimmy Howard's the starter again.
Yeah, Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Well,
I
they
mean,
had to
Jonathan
do
Brenner's a
that.
good, solid backup, though.
Right. Right. And they had to do that since Mrazek went to what's his name? What's their
Well,
nuts?
they traded him to Philadelphia,
Right.
but now he's a free agent.
Right. Before
Has
then.
anybody signed him?
No, not yet. I don't think so.
Okay.
Or I may be wrong. And if we're wrong, just yell at us on Twitter. That's all.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, Detroit
You
just
ta-
Detroit's just a mess right now to me.
I don't know what like. I don't know what to make of those.
I don't know what Detroit's doing. That's the point that gets me.
Yeah. Like, are you trying to win? Are you trying to rebuild? Why'd you re-sign Mike Green? Are you trying to trade him this year?
Why do you have
What the
Vanek
fuck's
signed to
going
a
on?
1-year deal? Like what?
Trade bait, just like you
guess.
said about Chris Kunitz.
Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
trade bait at the
I
trade
agree.
deadline.
I agree.
Some guy that's not going to be trade bait. Pittsburgh Penguins, shocking move. They signed Jack Johnson.
Man.
5 years,
Whew.
16.25 mil. Jack Johnson was a healthy scratch at the end of the last season for a long while, I believe.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh just signs him to 5 years for over $3 million a year.
It's interesting.
That really surprised me.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that just like I like Jack Johnson as a person.
Yeah. As a player,
I
yep.
think there's better defensemen out there.
There is definitely better defensemen out there, or were.
I mean, maybe his style will fit in better with
Right.
Pittsburgh. I
With,
mean, when
Sullivan's,
Jack
yeah.
Johnson first got traded to Columbus, they were loving him. Him and James Wisniewski.
Mm-hmm.
They're a defensive pairing out there, and they call him controlled chaos for a good reason.
Yep.
Because they don't really care much about the defensive part, and there's a lot of chaos, and they'd be up on the rush. So maybe Pittsburgh can kind of reel him back in, or maybe they want that guy that rushes up, like what Chris Letang used to do, but a lot of concussions.
Yeah. And I mean, Jack Johnson's, he is 31 years old, okay? So is he over his prime yet, or is he in it still? You know, that's what we don't know. But I mean, last year
Time will tell. That's a long time though. 5 years for Jack Johnson.
Right. Last year, for Columbus, he ended up playing 77 games, only put up 11 points, 3 goals and 8 assists.
What was his plus minus?
-6.
Okay.
He was
maybe
-6.
Pittsburgh wants their own controlled chaos, the Jack Johnson and the Chris Letang.
Right?
I'd like to see that.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Whatever.
So-
Fuck it.
So yeah,
What,
we'll see what they
What
do.
John
But-
Tortorella have to say about that, by the way?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, so you've seen it, right? You've seen the picture.
Yeah,
You've
I saw
seen
a
what
statement that he
John
made.
yeah, the John Tortorella statement that he made.
Why don't you just read it?
I will. So this came out from Columbus and John Tortorella after Jack Johnson decided to sign with Pittsburgh. And Tortorella said, "All I know is this organization, from the lawyers, the front office, JD, John Davidson, that is, the managers, the coaches, players, has done nothing but try to help Jack." Talking about Columbus here. Tortorella told The Athletic, and for him to backhand slap us like this is utter bullshit, and he should know better. So, classic torts so far, okay? Classic torts. He also goes on to say, no one wishes anything bad to happen to him and his family. Okay. We wish him the best. But for him to put it the way he put it today is bullshit. And to have a general manager question our decision making from 3 hours away, he must be a fucking magician.
What the fuck happened to Jack Johnson?
Classic Tortorella statement right there.
What did Jack Johnson do to the Blue Jackets? Like, I missed the part there. I'm like, did he say something? Did
He
come
must
out,
have.
Like,
He
bash
must.
the organization?
No, I mean, he must have said something, must have made a promise thing like John Taveres did to the Islanders and their organization, but, and just up and left. I'm not sure exactly what the whole Jack Johnson thing is, but classic torts comment, and I enjoyed it. Every bit of John Tortorella's
Do you
statement.
still kind of wish John Tortorella was the coach of the Rangers?
Oh my God, dude, yes. I loved his post-game interviews. But it's like, that's the thing, like, AV was just so chill. Like, Tortorella is your hard-nosed coach. Like, he'll get in your fucking face. He'll tell you when you fucked up. He'll tell you that you need to play better. He'll yell at you. Like he'll fucking get their guys going.
Yeah, well, maybe some players
Some players don't need that,
like Jack
obviously.
Johnson probably don't like that too much. So
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. And there's a lot of guys that hate playing for Tortorella. I've heard it from players, you know? So, and you can see why. But, anyways.
let's move on. Boston, I mean, they were contenders last year.
Yep, Boston making a couple more signings. And one happened to be defenseman John Moore, who was also an ex-Ranger many years ago. John Moore signed with Boston for 5 years, $13.75 million. All these big contracts coming out, 5 years,
It's a lot of
7
years.
mils. It
I
is.
just don't understand.
It is a lot of years for John Moore.
I just don't understand. Like, it's only like a little less than $3 million a year.
Yep.
Like, but 5 years. What the fuck? I don't understand. Like, I don't know. I just don't know.
Yes, we aren't the guys sitting in their offices deciding everybody that should be on their team, but
yeah, they got a plan.
they supposedly do. But for 5 years, goddamn, Yaroslav.
And they got a backup goalie now too.
That's right.
So.
Yaroslav Halak signed with Boston as well. He signed for 2 years, $5.5 million. That's just under $3 million a year, and
that's
a good
John
pickup.
Moore money right there.
That's a good pickup, though. Yaroslav Halak. He is a solid backup goaltender.
I like him.
Absolutely. Sorry, John.
Yeah, it's been a rough week for Islanders.
Sorry, Islander fans. Yes,
God,
it's been a
damn
rough
it.
week.
They still might send Calvin DeHaan. He hasn't decided where he's going yet. So
let's just say it is Gar Snow's fault, right? Are we in agreement to this?
I don't know.
It is definitely Snow's fault. All of that.
Lou
All of
Lamoriello
that.
has a plan.
All of that. They should have re-signed John Taveres at the end of the trade. Yes, exactly. At the trade deadline last year. And said no.
No, they should sign him in the last year's offseason, like
Or
what
that.
the Kings did with Drew Doughty.
Right, like
So,
knowing
you're signing now. Fuck you.
Right, knowing he has 1 year left on the contract and say, shit, we're gonna have to do something with him after this season. They should have resigned him then. You're right. Exactly.
And also, that's what Arizona did with Oliver Ekman-Larsson this year.
Whoop, whoop.
He also signed an 8-year extension with Arizona. I mean, I think we might have talked about that a little bit last week. I'm pretty sure we did.
Yes, we did. We mentioned the OEL there.
Yep.
Yep.
So Arizona is driving in the right direction. They got Galchenyuk. They got OEL locked up. And they also locked up Nick Hjalmarsson. 2 more years. $5 million. I don't know. I think
$5 million a year, yeah.
Yeah, $5 million for the next 2 years, so
Yep.
$10 million total.
Yeah. Dude.
I guess they're making a push this year. Is that what that means?
No,
Getting
I would say not this year, probably next year.
That's
I
why
would
they're locking up
say
for 2 years.
yes. I would say 2 years. Phoenix. God damn it. Arizona is gonna be in the Arizona's gonna be a playoff team 2 years from now.
So you're calling it.
I'm on it this time.
You called it at the beginning of the last season.
I'm on it this time.
Okay.
On it this
They
time.
got Darcy Kemper now
So
and Antti Ranta. That's their goalie combination.
yeah,
That's pretty solid in my book.
yeah. And
I
it's
mean, they got 2 backups.
and-
I mean,
and like you always said, you start from the back out, right?
yeah. Well,
You build from the
Hjalmarsson,
back
I
out.
think he's kind of overrated now. He was good in Chicago and
Yeah.
he's on a downward trend in my opinion. But Arizona, you got some good players still.
Yep.
It's not all
Make
young
something
guys.
happen.
And you also got Datsuk signed still, even though he's in Russia.
Right.
Congratulations.
Right. So players we have not mentioned. That was basically all the big name players that we just mentioned.
That's a summary of what's happened so far. There might be some more signings
Yeah, I'm sure.
before this.
I'm sure there
release
will
and
be.
after we record. So
Yep, I'm sure there will be. There'll be news. Hopefully, we'll hear something from Rick Nash. He's deciding whether he should play or retire. Basically, that's what that comes down to.
well, Columbus did sign to R. Nash. Just it was Riley Nash.
Yeah, and
So
yeah,
maybe just a sign of things to come where Rick follows Riley
yeah. Who knows?
for a Nash to Nash combo.
Maybe.
Or
and
not.
then,
We'll see.
haven't heard anything from Eric Carlson yet.
I don't know. We talked about him earlier.
He's always been
Vegas
the trade
has
talk.
The money. They got the money now. Vegas has that money that they put aside for John Tavares and stuff. And,
Yeah, but
they
I
lost
don't-
Perron. They lost Neil.
I don't think Carlson would go to Vegas. Like Carlson doesn't seem like the Vegas type.
Dude,
Like the
They'll
dude,
trade for him right now.
like the
They
dude
got
has a
8
family. Like
Who cares?
Like
Fucking everybody has families.
he's not gonna want to live in Vegas. I picture him
Oh
living
my
in like a
God,
nice
you've never been to Vegas. Shut the fuck up.
countryside. You're right. I haven't been to Vegas, but as far as I see on TV, that's
Oh my God, that is not fucking Vegas. Stop talking. Let me talk. Eric Carlson and Bobby Ryan.
yeah.
Eric
I'm
Carlson and
listening.
Bobby Ryan could be traded to the Golden Knights to replace James Neal, to replace David Perron, to join Paul Stastny. I mean, they got about $18 million still in cap space for this year. All they have to do is sign William Karlsson to a long-term contract if they want, or a one-year contract. I mean, they offered him the qualifying offer. That's still not sure how much money he's going to be making, but they're going to keep him locked up. And then the rest, they could sign, or they could trade for Eric Carlson and Bobby Ryan, and they could ship Thomas Tatar to Ottawa to even clear more space for him.
Mm-hmm.
Things are looking good for Vegas right now, and I don't know. Someone's gonna pull the George McPhee's done miracles before.
He has.
I mean, they got a lot of draft picks for next year's team. Next year's draft, they got a first round pick. They got 2 seconds. They got like 3/3 next year.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure
like
Ottawa will take one of those,
after
especially since their first round picks going to Colorado next year.
yeah,
So I mean, Colorado could still theoretically trade for Eric Carlson, and Ottawa could get their first round pick back, which I don't know. But if you're Vegas, you gotta make that strong push. Get Bobby Ryan and Eric Carlson. Ottawa doesn't want Bobby Ryan, and they will probably trade Eric Carlson if they can't sign him.
yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe it'll be breaking news next week. Stay tuned for next week's episode. Eric Carlson, a Golden Knight, and
Maybe
if
Rick
that
Nash.
happens, he'll be the captain. I'm calling it.
Well,
Mark
if
it
that
down.
happened, obviously, it would
Mark
happen.
it down. Come at me, Ken from Sinbin. Agree or disagree? Hey, let's make a deal right now. If Eric Carlson gets traded this week, or let's just say before next week's episode, we'll bring Ken on here to talk about it.
Okay.
He'll be a 3-time repeat guest. That's an unbreakable record.
Word. So yeah,
Word.
that pretty much wraps up this episode.
A long-winded episode.
Yeah, it was still our average timing, but you know.
But can you believe John Taveres, 7 years, $77 million in Toronto? Oh,
Yep.
that's
I mean,
the biggest
nope,
news.
but yes, it happened.
That's the biggest news from this week.
Obviously.
John Tavares is out of there.
Obviously. They had the hashtag Taveres Watch going on. That was hilarious. That had me laughing, giggling.
Well, I guess now the future on the island is Barzal, so
And that is a good future, though. That is a
Yeah.
good future for them, for
they
sure.
gotta start building around that guy now.
And
Maybe they won't make the same mistake twice. Barzal is going to be there for a while.
no, and
I mean, Tavares was in Long Island for a while, but Barzal should finish his career in Long Island, unless there you go, like super rebuild mode in a couple of years and all hell breaks loose. I have no idea what's going to happen to that organization.
right. And I know Josh Hosang was up at the was up at camp there for them for the Islanders, and I would love to see him turn his act around. I know he's had a little bit of talking too much, if you will, and too many issues with that, and his him running his mouth the wrong way.
But also an interesting fact, real quick.
But
Lou
he's a
Lamoriello
great
is already
player.
Making his fucking don't cut me off.
Sorry, go ahead.
Lou Lamoriello's already making an impact on the organization because Josh Hosing last year is wearing number 66, and a lot of people think that number should be retired around the league for Lemieux.
Mm-hmm.
So this year in development cap, Josh Hosing wearing number 26 instead.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's already a Lou Lamoriello effect.
Yeah. I mean, is it the Lou Lamoriello effect or is it Josh Hosang maturing?
It's probably a little bit of both.
Okay. Because that's what we have to see from Hosang if he wants
It's
to play
maturity.
in this league, right? Because he has
Or
a
he
bad,
could just get traded to the Kings.
right. And speaking of the Kings too, by the way, I heard a lot of teams reaching out to the Kings about Slava Voinov and asking them questions. I saw that
Well,
floating around.
all charges
so-
were dismissed now. Should have fucking happened in the first place. He should
Yep.
still been the goddamn Kings, but the Kings are going to move on from him. He's not going to be on the Kings. The
No,
Kings
but-
have his trade rights.
Right. So with you saying our charges are dropped, that means for those of you that don't know, Slava Voinov is now able to get his Canada visa and U.S. visa without any issues. Now that all that nonsense is out of his way and off his shoulders. So, will Slava Voinov get traded? Who knows? Will Rick Nash decide to do something? Who knows? Will Erik Karlsson possibly get traded by next week? Maybe. So listen, guys, find out
Should be a good
more.
one.
Follow us on Twitter at _ATV podcast. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube especially. Shout out to our boy there who commented on our video. And, hey, keep commenting because we'll keep talking to you. So that's it, guys. Thank you for joining us again. This was our free agency episode. Let's get back at it next week.
There's more of the frenzy coming next week. I can feel it.
That's right, baby. So we will see you guys next week.
Tuned.
Bye-bye.
See you next Tuesday.